The 1933 Tour de France was the 27th Tour de France, taking place June 27 to July 23, 1933. It consisted of 23 stages over 4,395 kilometers, ridden at an average speed of 29.818 kilometers per hour. This race featured the introduction of the mountains competition, in which cyclists were challenged to climb the mountains the fastest, with points given to the fastest ascenders. This competition was won by Spanish Vicente Trueba, who reached 9 of the 16 mountain peaks first. The time bonus of 2 minutes had a large influence on the outcome of the race. Thanks to this bonus, Georges Seicher managed to win the race. Without the bonus, Italian Giuseppe Martano would have been the winner. Changes from the 1932 Tour de France. In the 1932 Tour de France, the bonus system had had a major impact on the results. Without these bonuses, the difference between the number 1 and number 2 would have been only 3 seconds, but with these bonuses, it became more than 24 minutes. In 1933, the bonus time was reduced, only the winner received 2 minutes of bonus time. Since the 1913 Tour de France, the Tour de France had been counterclockwise. In 1933, this changed, and the race was run clockwise again. Race favorites: Belgium, Italy, Switzerland, Germany and France entered national teams, consisting of 8 cyclists. Additionally, 40 tourist routiers, cyclists without a team, entered the race. The French team has been named the best collection of pre-war cyclists. The Belgian team had talented riders, but were split between French-speaking and Dutch-speaking cyclists. The Italian team was headed by Larco Guerra. Guerra had won 3 stages in the 1933 Giro d'Italia and had been world champion. Tour director Henri Desgrange had named Guerra as probable winner of the race. Race details: on June 27, 1933, the Tour de France was started by Josephine Baker. The French team, that had won the last 3 Tours de France, started well. Maurice Archambault won the first stage, and lead the general classification until the Alps. In the third stage, French sprinter Charles Parc-Lissier, who had already won 13 Tour stages in his career, hit a car. He continued the race, but was injured, and finished behind the time limit. Until the 8th stage, the battle for the lead was between Archambault and Larco Guerra. In that 8th stage, French cyclist Georges Seicher asked permission to his team leader Archambault if he could go for the stage win, and he could. He raced away, and won the stage. In the mountains of the 9th stage, Archambault could not compete with the rest. When Archambault folded on the Elos, somebody else could take over the lead. The next cyclist in the general classification, Guerra, had a flat tire, and could not win enough time. In the end, it was unknown Belgian Georges Lemaire who took over the lead. Guerra was only 23 seconds behind in the general classification after that stage. In stage 10, all but 6 cyclists finished more than 22 minutes after the winner. According to the rules, the cut-off time was 8% of the time of the stage winner. That rule would have put everybody but these 6 cyclists out of the race. Because of this, the Tour director Henri Desgrange extended the cut-off time for this stage to 10%, in this way 43 cyclists stayed in the race. In the 11th stage, the cut-off time was 10%. This would take 4 cyclists out of the race, but for them the cut-off time was increased to 15%. One of these cyclists had been hit by a car from the Tour direction. Maurice Archambault took back the lead after that stage thanks to the bonus time, but not for long, as he lost time in the next stage. Georges Seicher led the race from stage 12 on. In the mountains, Seicher struggled. He was dropped many times on the climbs, but was a good descender and managed to get back to the lead group every time. Lemaire initially stayed close to Seicher, and was only 15 seconds behind in the general classification. Lequip wrote that with the help of his Belgian team, Lemaire could have challenged Seicher for the overall victory, especially thanks to the help of Jean Aerts. But the Belgian team was still divided between the Dutch-speaking and French-speaking cyclists, and Jean Arts did not help Lemaire but went for his own success. In the 21st stage, the initial winner Le Graves together with the initial second-placed cyclist Louillet were punished by the jury, because of irregular sprinting. They were set back to the 6th and 7th place, and Jean Arts, who initially was third, was named the winner of the race. In the 22nd stage, the winner of the race was determined by one lap in the velodrome. This had not been planned, but was done because when the first group with 28 cyclists reached a velodrome, the gates were still closed. Before the last stage, Martano was in second place, and Guerra in third. This last stage was won by Guerra, and thanks to the bonus time of 2 minutes, Guerra took over the second place. Results. Stage winners final general classification The time that each cyclist required to finish each stage was recorded, and these times were added together for the general classification. If a cyclist had received a time bonus, it was subtracted from this total. All time penalties were added to this total. The cyclist with the least accumulated time was the race leader, identified by the yellow jersey. The bonus in the 1933 Tour de France were also decisive for the overall victory. Without the bonus of 2 minutes for the stage winner, Giuseppe Martano would have won the race. Saicha received 6 minutes for his 3-stage victories and Guerra 10 minutes for 5 victories, whereas Martano had received no bonus time. Final team classification For the fourth time, there was an official team competition, this time won by the French team. The team classification was calculated in 1933 by adding up the times of the best 3 cyclists of a team. The team with the least time was the winner. Mountains classification The mountains classification in the Tour de France was calculated for the first time in 1933. There were 16 mountains en route of the 1933 Tour de France, and for the first cyclists to reach the top of the mountain, points were given. The first on the top got 10 points, the second 9 points, and so on, until the 10th cyclist who received 1 point. In 1933, it was sponsored by Martini and Rossi. Aftermath. For the 1933 UCI Road World Championships, that was held after the race, Tour de France winner Georges Saicha was initially not selected. Only after a French cyclist that had been selected dropped out, Saicha was brought in as a replacement at the last notice, and won the race. Saicha was the first cyclist to win the Tour de France and the World Championship in the same year. The national team format that had been introduced in 1930, had in 4 races produced 4 French victories. The French audience was therefore greatly interested in the race, and the organizing newspaper L'Auto had a record circulation of 854,000. Notes. References. External links, media related to 1933 Tour de France at Wikimedia Commons.